I wanted to talk about workflow here for a second. Now, workflow essentially means what goes before what. What stage of retouching should be done first as opposed to last. And I don't think there's one workflow that works for everyone, for every situation, for every person, for every image. But also there are certain things that almost every workflow process that I've seen kind of shares. For instance, output sharpening. That's usually done at the last stage, right? Once you know what the output will be. Also, you might have multiple outputs. So these are some kind of things that you might do at the end. But color correction, even dodging and burning, is something that you can do at the beginning stage, at the end stage. You can do it in the middle. You can do it in multiple passes. It is quite flexible. And that's how I like to use it. But it doesn't mean that you would like to use it the same way I do. You might want to use it at the beginning stage. You might want to use it, once you're done with the color correction and tonal correction and cloning and all that. So with the workflow that I'm about to show you is unique to me. This is my own personal preference. And it is a bit expanded type of workflow, the kind of workflow that I probably wouldn't do unless I was trying to show you what I did step by step. You see, in this image, I'm going to be dissecting, analyzing three images really quickly. For instance, this image has a bunch of layers on it, and I've divided them into groups. So this would be the original, the way the image looked at the original stage, and then I have a group folder called retouch, and in that folder I have different subfolders, and each of those subfolders has a bunch of layers, and each of those layers contain different stages of retouching, like different dodge and burn passes and so on. Now typically when I would be doing this and not trying to show you exactly everything that I've done, what I would do is once I'm done with a certain color correction, tonal correction, whatever that might be, then I would flatten the layers, and then I would continue to work on an image, and then once I'm done, for instance, with dodging and burning, I would flatten it again as a new layer. That way I have only a few layers at the end, and if I want to go back, I can always copy certain areas from the previous layers on top of the stack of all the different adjustments. It is a pretty flexible way to work for me, and some would argue that it's not flexible enough, but for me it is. But in this case, I wanted to leave almost everything that I did when I was working on an image. And there will be quite a few layers, as you will see. Now, that doesn't mean that this is the best way to do it, or this is the only way to do it, or this is the way you should be doing every one of your images. This is just a way for you to see kind of my thinking process while I was working on an image. And my thinking process, again, is unique to me. You might have a different approach, more effective approach, better, more creative approach. It really doesn't matter. So before I begin discussing and analyzing and dissecting, and I'm going to be doing it in really quick fashion, I wanted to just explain that what I'm about to show you is something that you don't have to stick as a Bible. This is something that I do, and you don't have to follow along. You can just kind of see what I've done and then use bits and pieces of it to assimilate and use in your own workflow. I think that's probably the most effective way to work. Don't ever try to copy the exact steps from somebody else's workflow, because you will never really advance that way. Always try to find better new ways from different people and try to experiment a lot. Try to find the kind of workflow that works best for you. So in the next video, we'll begin to talk about three images. This will be one of them, and we're going to go over each individual adjustments that I did to the image, so you will see what I did to accomplish the final results, and also I will provide you with the PSD files so you can see on your own at your own pace.